All right. Okay, good. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Today is the last day of February, February 28th, and this is the Shrewsbury Board of Directors or Board of Trustees monthly meeting. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was on January 24th.
I move to approve.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I wasn't there, so I can't vote.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to review and approve Priya's activities of January 2023.
If it requires a motion, I move to approve.
Okay,
I
All
second
those-
it.
great. Any comments, Priya, about your activities before we?
Nothing in addition to what's mentioned in the
Okay.
report.
I guess my question didn't come through. I'm sorry. I was wondering what the Shrewsbury Way Academy for Leadership Training was.
Oh, that
Who's
is
that?
a series of workshops for all the department heads. It is called Shrewsbury Way. That's the, all the professional development for leaders in Shrewsbury. And it's a series of workshops that's facilitated by John Wortman, who's a consultant with the town. And he focuses on various topics like motivation and conflict resolution and all that kind of stuff. And we have meetings twice a month.
Thanks.
Okay, so all those in.
I had a quick question.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't know
sorry.
if this would be a lot of work, Priya, and I don't want to put more on your plate. I just wondered if we could know, like, when we have the non-library groups use the meeting rooms, can we know which are paid and unpaid?
Oh, sure. Next time I'll try and put that. Let me see.
To just
what we
break it
have.
out. I don't know if that is if that creates a lot of.
No, it
paperwork.
won't
It's
be
not
too much
essential. I'm
work.
just. I was
No,
just
it's-
curious because the all the meetings are open meetings, right? So even like per the meeting room policy.
Yeah, none of the meetings that I have mentioned in this report, none of those were paid. They were all free. They're all free.
I was interested to learn about that the Indian Heritage Foundation had a meeting at the library.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't even know what it was about. Mike had approved their use of the meeting room. I'm not sure what the program was.
That's the building that's now behind me. When you drive down 140
Oh, really?
and all the trees have been taken down and there's 2 cinder block arches, that's the Indian Heritage Foundation.
Oh,
I
didn't know
I
that.
had no idea.
I didn't either, but I went online. Someone told me that was the name of that area. So I went online and looked. And it's amazing because it's a house that they added that whole front that's pink too.
Okay.
And I guess they're having their opening July 1st through the 4th. And it's going to be like a conference center leadership program. If you go online,
Mhm.
it'll tell you because they're the only other one in the area is in Boston.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Good
Yeah.
to know.
So it was nice to finally find out what was next, what's out my back door.
I was wondering, I thought that was just a residence, an elaborate one, but it's
No,
not.
no.
Huh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. Any other comments about Priya's activities for last month?
Except that she was busy.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
one quick
Yes.
question. The acquisitions meeting,
Yeah.
is that,
That is
for-
a team, no, internal. It is a
Yeah.
team of librarians. And it's, the children's department, a couple of them, the adult services department, fiction and nonfiction, those who do the collection development, and the reference librarian, the digital services librarian, and the principal department assistant. So what we do is review, we have a meeting every quarter, sometimes once in 2 months. We review what we have spent during the year. And it is not just all, the total is the materials budget, but we see how much we've spent on fiction, nonfiction, juvenile, young adult, all that breakdown, the various categories. And we know we are on track 8 months down the line, and this is how much is the balance and what we can spend. So that's the acquisitions.
yeah, okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, doesn't exactly relate to last month, but what's going to happen now that Kristen Loss has taken her position as town manager in Westport? So who's going to be in charge of human services?
Right now, it's Kevin, and he had, spoken to each of us individually, the departments that come under human services. He's not yet advertised that position. He's reevaluating how he wants to do it, and he'll do it later.
Yeah, but he's planning on actually advertising it. He might have to
He-
actually. I don't
he
know. I don't know how
might.
it's written.
Yeah, he might, or he might reorganize and make some changes. The other assistant town manager, of course, is David Snowden for business and finance.
Well, Kristen will be missed.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so I think this motion was moved and seconded. Are we ready to vote on that?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item is programs and services that were offered at the library last month.
I was impressed with all the children's services. that
Yes,
It's just great.
it's absolutely
Mm.
great, yeah. They have something or the other every single day.
Yep.
Either story times or thinker time, infant explorers, and various other creative stuff in partnership with other organizations or the staff themselves leading programs. Yeah, it's very impressive.
I was telling Priya that I brought my grandchildren to the library one weekend during the Purple celebration, and it was just amazing. Just so creatively done, and there were people all over the place just having a great time. I just felt so happy. It was great.
Yeah, it's
you
always
for the
bustling in
children's
there.
program.
It's always
It is.
bustling in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the program with the YMCA a new program?
This is for the teens, this youth core program. When the young adult librarian Annie Lee was here before she went on maternity leave, she actually made this partnership with the YMCA, and they are doing this leadership training. They're doing it free for us, and they started it as a 4-week program, and because it's been successful, they're extending it beyond now. So it's going to be a few more weeks.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
I guess just one, I've always wondered, do we reach out to these organizations or do they tend to reach out to us? How do we
It
find them?
happens. It happens both ways. Sometimes they reach out wanting to, offer a program, and sometimes this was actually something that Kristen Lass had mentioned, and she had a meeting with them. But the strange coincidence, they had also reached out to Annie Lee, And, we thought it would be a great partnership. So lots of times people solicit, and want to offer programs at the library, and we see how it fits with our general philosophy. And sometimes we reach out to them.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, then moving on to financial and legislative, need to review and act upon the year-to-date report.
Everything looks very on target, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
it really does.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the last meeting, we were discussing this, on the second page of the report,
Yeah.
where it says total library operational expenses and then total general fund. So the operational expenses is all the items in the 04 category. The first three are all salary related, 01, 02, and 03. And then 04 is all the operational expenses. So that budget, operational expenses, 71.8% has been used. And when you look at the general fund, it includes the salaries and all the operational, and that is 87.4%.
Okay.
Thank you, Priya, for
Mhm.
clarifying that.
You're welcome. And because the salaries are already encumbered, we know how much we are going to spend, whereas the operational expenses, some of it is encumbered, but not all of it.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns about the budget
Looks
or
good.
the today report? Okay, good. And also next is just the FY24 budget fiscal projection.
Yes, so as you all know, we had presented our budget and our budget proposal, and Deb and I had a meeting with the town manager. But when he gave us the proposal for fiscal projection 1, he has approved the level service budget that we had submitted. The only additions are in the materials line. The level service was 197,000, and in the enhanced budget we had asked for, we had proposed 203,989 based on our 13% calculation, based on that. And he has approved that. He is presenting that in his fiscal projections. The materials budget is increased slightly. And in the salaries, the salary of the employee currently being paid by the state aid has also been included in the operational budget. The rest of it, we had requested a new position that has not been approved. So that was the fiscal projection.
Oh, that's too bad. I mean, everything else is good, but it's too bad that
Yeah.
kind of
Well, this will,
it.
this will keep us in line with the state aid requirements, right?
It will.
Yeah, okay, and
Yeah.
I can remember when I was on the finance committee, it's a funny time of year where all the departments are putting in their requests, and so the finance committee is kind of balancing them. Is it above the line? Is it below the line? So
Yeah.
we can cross our fingers and hope it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we met with him, he really kind of shared with us it was going to be a tight year because of all the energy expenses that other town departments have had to absorb. But I guess I was kind of hopeful that the new position would be,
Right.
something that was seen as really very important, as we see it as important. But I also
Yes.
recognize that the town is really having a hard time making some ends meet. And I'm glad that at least everything else that we've asked for so
Yeah.
far is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the last item under financial and legislative is just to review the use of state aid funds to pay for the new shelving that has been delivered and set up in the bookstore.
Right.
Priya, you want to talk about that a bit?
Sure. As all of you know, the Friends Bookstore has been revived. It's functioning as a bookstore now. When we rearranged everything in that room, we realized there is more space for two rows of shelves, and the Friends had actually approved the funding for this. But some of the members who are here on the trustee board and on the Friends board, we had a discussion and we thought we could possibly use state aid funds to pay for these shelves, because it's part of the building, it's part of the library. So that is what the request is. And as Deb mentioned, it's already been installed and looks very nice in the bookstore.
And they're very full. I was
they
there the
are.
other day.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long.
Yeah, so the amount is 2,126.54 cents.
I move we approve the request for shelving.
I second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, good,
Thank you very much.
good. All right, next item is facility, equipment, and grounds.
Okay. Let me begin with the good news that the elevator was fixed after 3 or 4 weeks. February 16th, actually, it was fixed. It was a major repair that had to be done, and hopefully now it'll work for many years more. What else? Deb and I met with the public facilities in charge person, Keith Baldinger and Bill Tuttle, and we had a discussion about the general maintenance and cleanliness at the library. We reminded them about how busy the library is, how many visitors we have, how the library is open 7 days of the week, and we see a lot of traffic there. So, we also reminded them how there had been a night cleaning crew before the pandemic, and it would be great if they could bring that back.
Yeah.
So they said that would be a big, expense for them, and they hadn't put it in their budget. But they also mentioned that they would replace those Roombas that are there, cleaning things, with something else. They don't know what yet, because they realize that that's not very effective.
No,
And it's been used for so many years now, 3 years. So, they listen to us, but they're not going to immediately provide a night cleaning crew every single day. They will be sending someone on Friday nights and Saturday nights, in addition to the day cleaning work that is done. We're also sharing a Google Sheet now where I ask my managers and we note down all the areas that have to be cleaned or that needs special attention and that, has been skipped or something. And we share it with the custodial supervisor and with Bill, so that they can see what needs to be done and they can instruct the people who come in at night who we don't see. If they come on a Saturday morning or something, we don't see them. So
How many
How is that
hours?
going?
It might be worth even taking photos of problem areas.
that
Because that a picture speaks 1,000 words, because you can say, well, the corner of the children's play area was pretty dirty. Well, let's see what it looked, here's how bad it was.
That's a good idea.
You know,
Yeah.
Roombas are fine. They're no replacement for a human. So,
Right.
No,
Yeah.
and they don't pick up as well as the regular
Right.
vacuum.
no, just ask mine right over there.
How many hours do they come on a Saturday or Friday night or Saturday? Do you know?
I think whenever they come, they're supposed to be there for 3 hours.
3 hours.
That's my understanding, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's
Is
not a
staff
lot of time.
receptive to just kind of listing the problem areas? Is
Yes.
that that
Yeah,
seems-
unfortunately, since we had that discussion with them, John, our custodian, has been out sick for the past 2 weeks. So that
Oh, dear.
that really added to the, problems. So every
Yeah.
day there was a different person coming in,
Oh,
and yeah, they do their best, whoever's there, but it's not like having a consistent
yeah.
person in the morning and consistent service in the evening, where people will get used to the place and we can communicate with them. That would be nice. But I guess they're doing their best. We are doing our best to keep the place clean.
I think the other thing that changed since our last meeting was that John was altering his hours to come in a little bit earlier and also leave a little bit earlier in the afternoon, but
Right.
at least he could tackle the must-dos before the
The
library is
staff came
open.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
hopefully
right.
that will help too.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other thoughts? I think the picture idea is a great idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Moving on then to gifts and grants.
Nothing new. There was just that letter of appreciation, which I had shared with all of you from the MBLC on,
Yes.
on how the grant had been managed. That was very nice.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice comment. Okay. Then moving on to personnel, it's time, Priya, for us to kind of talk about you and how things are going as library director. So, I think I'll just kind of provide a summation at the end, but I was hoping that maybe people might want to take some time just to share their thoughts about this.
All good.
All good.
I think we're so lucky to have you, Priya. I feel like you are so dynamic and innovative, and seeing things like the letter from the MBLC really help put in context. I think we are used to having this level of service, and we become a little immune to how wonderful you and the staff are. So thank you for just being so welcoming to all different groups and generating so many different types of programs that get so many people in our doors and so many books in and out of our doors. We love seeing the statistics every month. It's really something to be proud of. So thank you.
Thank you, April.
And I
agree with
also,
April.
I agree with April. And I also want to add that you're very forward thinking. You think about things that are coming or that we should be doing or that we need to do and we're just not aware of. So I truly appreciate that, especially in the programs that you've offered. It's really, and every time they talk about, and I'm going to slaughter his name, Candy? Was that the?
Dr. Kendi, yeah.
The fact that we had him at the Shrewsbury Public Library when he's, when they bring him in on national programs on TV. So I just have to give you credit for that. We're very lucky to have someone like you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you roll with the punches.
Yeah. If I may too, as the pandemic wound down, it wasn't a simple process to ramp the library back up. That took
Yeah.
a lot of thinking, planning, and having to be ready to change again anytime. So, and you managed it all. So it's
Thank
great.
you.
And I would also add that you started your job as director as the pandemic came down upon us. So it was like you had a really, a lot of challenges when you started, but you really have risen to the job and exceeded. And I think the library's just the pride of our community. So I'm just so grateful. And when I look at all the, as others of you have said, when I look at all the programs we offer, it's just amazing. I think it's a very special library, and you are a wonderful leader.
Thank you. And I have to give credit to the whole team, of course, my staff, because they are the ones planning all the programs.
But it takes a good leader to make that happen, Priya. And I think that honestly, if we look at, the different institutions in the town, I think we can very fairly say that the library is the most forward-thinking in terms of equity and diversity and inclusion. I think that the work that you're doing is intentional and deliberate, and it shows that that's really something to be very proud of.
Thank you very much.
And I would just add how important that your open door policy is. You're literally, if you're in the library, your door is open. And it's not just that you make yourself available to staff and to board members, but, just patrons, walking by and, knocking on your door or peeking in and I think that's really important because you're very visible and very hands-on. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Also add that, you have an attention to detail, not only about the facilities, but also to every member of your staff, whether someone's overworked, and you're really concerned about each and every one for every person on your staff. And thank you for bringing everybody together, to get this library to always be there for the community.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
There's
it.
not much I can add. I just say that I'm impressed with how responsive you are to all the questions that we ask, and go and research them. Some of our questions aren't so good, but we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I would encourage anyone who hasn't had a chance to listen to the first episode of Dana's podcast to listen to the interview with Miss Priya, because you will learn a thing or two about her. No spoilers, but you might be surprised. It was really good.
Thank you, April.
Well done.
It was a fun thing to put together.
Well, I don't really have much to add either. I just think you're amazing, Priya, in terms of all the balls that you juggle, and so I certainly credit you to keeping me on track and the board on track as well. So thank you for all that you do. As I said, I just want to summarize a little bit because we all kind of had our evaluation forms. And there were 17 questions, and each question had a rating of 1 to 4, 4 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, obviously, in terms of how people thought you were performing. And the overall average of all of those was 3.8. So pretty close to 4, I'd say. And I will share the comments with you too. All of them really pretty much reflect what everybody else has said tonight. But the other thing I just wanted to ask the board members is that I did contact Human Resources through the town. They use a different rating system than we do. They use kind of a does not meet expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations in their review of other non-union employees of the town. So when I do forward this information to the town manager, Kevin, I think I would like to try to use the same language that they use. Of course, I will also forward him the comments and the overall ratings on the questions that we use. But I would like to propose, just to kind of keep things in line with their system, that we say that PRIA exceeds expectations, so that we're using the same language as the town human resource department uses.
Yeah, I would
That's
agree. You know, I was impressed when I read that form. I think it's very old. It's very negative. All of the numbers are way down there at the bottom of the scale, and there's nowhere to move around at the top. And so I think it's time for a new scale.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we
I think
redo
it
the
needs-
form for next year or something like that? Probably
I
can.
think so. After
I think it's in
we
our
struggled
manual.
with the staff one. Yeah, I think it's time. We this is a form that was kind of, I think it was used by a different community and we co-opted it maybe. I'm not really sure, but perhaps it is time to
I think
kinda
it's been
rework
used.
that.
I think it's been
Yeah.
used since Bonnie's time, since when Bonnie was the director.
I think it was recreated in a way with Ellen. I think we adapted it somewhat with Ellen. However, I do think it's time to move on.
Okay. All right, so we'll roll up our sleeves and try to develop a new tool for that. Personnel committee, yay! But really, I would encourage anybody to please think about what makes sense. This is a very unique position in town, and PRIA is very unique within the whole library system, I think. So, but regardless of who is our director, I do agree. I think we need to revamp it a bit.
Thank you very
But it
much.
sounds-
Thank you.
Sounds like people feel that exceeds expectations is appropriate for this current year. Is that okay? Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good. Okay.
I would just like to share something that happened yesterday. There was a gentleman who came and wanted to give and left for me a bouquet of flowers because he thought my article in the new newsletter was so good. He liked it so much that he brought a bouquet of flowers. I was so touched by that. I was so touched by that. I was at the foundation board meeting and he had left the flowers with the front desk staff, and he said, "Tell Priya that her article was very good." Really, Harry, if you're watching this, Mr. Harry Richardson, thank you very much. Thank you.
And I concur. It was a very nice,
Yes.
was a very nice director's note there. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was fun to do. Thank you, everyone. All right. Next on the agenda actually is about the Shrewsbury Public Library Foundation.
Nancy.
I can speak to that. We met yesterday and we elected officers for the foundation. So Mike Pagano, who's done a great job as chair of the foundation, was ready to step down, not leave the board, but leave the position of chair. And so the new chair is actually a co-chair, and it's Mo Boisvert, who's fairly new to the board. He's great. So Mo and Nancy Gilbert are going to co-chair that. And
That's a good team.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see who else. Mike Hale will remain as treasurer, and assistant treasurer is John Harbert. And we had I stepped down as secretary because I don't want to do two jobs. And so we also created a co-treasurer, a co-secretary / clerk, and that will be Ragu and Deb Delgado. So that's the new lineup. And we've got some big ideas to help move the foundation forward. So more to come on that next month.
Great.
Anything to add, Priya, that is?
No, I think you summed it up very well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
and
excited about it.
we are working on our next distinguished speaker lecture. Priya is working on that for us, and I think we'll have someone good to do a program in the spring, and then we're hoping to do another one in the fall. And also work on our annual appeal, which will get going earlier this year than we did this last year. So anyway, all
Yeah.
good things.
Thank you, Nancy. I have actually finalized the speaker for the spring. Yes, it's Hank Philippi Ryan.
Oh, good.
She's going to be at our library on May 24th. I think it's a Thursday, May 24th at 7 p.m. And
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
it's
Good
a
news.
Wednesday.
Thank you, Priya.
Okay. Yeah,
What will she be? What will she be talking about?
I'm not sure yet, but she's just published a new book, and that's, she has been doing a tour. She's an extremely busy person. She's all over the place, but she has, confirmed that she will be at our library on May 24th. So I'm very excited.
Good.
That's a Wednesday, Priya.
That's a Wednesday. Yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
Joe.
Okay. Good. All
People
right,
will
moving on to
recognize- But people will recognize her name, so that'll be a
Right.
draw.
Right. Yeah. She writes suspense thrillers. Yeah. And she's also an investigative journalist.
Yeah.
Won many Emmy Awards. She's a New York Times best-selling author, and she's an excellent, very engaging speaker.
I met her years
Great.
ago when I worked at Mass General.
Oh,
Yeah, she interviewed me for some research I was working on.
Oh, wow.
I see.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. She'll be a good speaker.
She's a good speaker, yeah.
Okay. Next item is Friends of the Library.
Friends, the only update I would say is the ongoing sale in the bookstore is going very well. And after the elevator has been fixed, we don't have as many boxes of books upstairs. I mean, we were able to take them to their right places and, move that whole thing around. So it looks good now. The bookstore looks very good.
Now, if you want to donate books to the bookstore, do you bring them to the main desk?
You would still give it at the main desk, yes.
Okay.
We are accepting donations of books in good condition, fiction, non-fiction, children's books, etc. Yes, you would bring them to the front desk.
Okay.
I was in the library the other day and somebody walked out of the elevator and I said, "Did you just get out of the elevator?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh." So good work being persistent.
Well, it's much better than the Worcester Art Museum. We haven't had an elevator for almost 2 years.
Oh.
And it's going to be about another year.
Wow.
Because it's so old, they couldn't get parts. They have to put in a whole new elevator.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So there are ways to get up to the top floor, but you have to wind your way.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Was somebody going to say something? I don't want to.
No.
Okay. Next item is policies. Anything to review? I don't think so,
No,
right?
nothing to review.
Okay. And then miscellaneous. Priya, you sent us the bookmarks.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was the old, I don't know if you can see it. This was the old bookmark that we had in the library for many, many years. I think over 15, definitely over 15 years. And it has the name of Daniel's Insurance Agency. Apparently that insurance agency is no longer in business. And and somebody noticed that, and that was the owner of this new insurance company, Mealy Insurance. And he reached out and asked if he could, provide us with these bookmarks. So I think I sent you the images. So we said that one side would be information about the library, and on the other side would be information about their business. I just wanted to check with all of you if it's something you approve. And we also have these sleeves for the library cards with information about the Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union. And this, again, we've had for a very long time. It wasn't questioned. So I'm assuming that we can do this, allow a local business to sponsor by, providing us with these bookmarks and giving their information also.
I don't see why not.
I guess my only question would be, what if another business came and said, well, we want to do this too? Would that be something that we could take turns with? Or I know we haven't been approached by anyone else, but somebody else might see this and think, well, this is kind of a good way to get our name out there.
Well, they could print up so many bookmarks.
Yeah.
With the understanding that once they're finished, if someone did ask, we could give them the option.
That's a good
That would
alternative.
work, huh?
And do we just leave these in a pile, or do the staff pass them out with the books?
No,
This-
it's just
it's-
left. It has
Okay,
the
so it's
hours and-
people's choice whether they want to take one or
Right,
not. Okay.
right.
We're not really
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah, it has the hours and stuff. So we do hand them out as, if people say, what are the hours? Is it mentioned anywhere? And we hand the bookmark to them.
I didn't see the prototype, but is there room for a mention of the Friends Bookstore?
Oh, I guess I could, I could look into that.
Just a little blur, visit the Friends
Just a little.
Fair
Yeah, sure.
Bookstore on our lower level, something like that.
Sure. Okay.
That's a
I
good
can
point.
do that.
Um,
I can do
they-
that.
They might not need that free public internet and Wi-Fi access.
Oh,
I
we
feel like
removed that actually.
Okay,
yeah,
I feel like that's kind of
yeah.
inherent. It's
I
like
know
free
that-
books at the library.
I know that's so, yeah, it was in the old bookmark. I asked them to remove that. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, I will add this
Um,
instead.
And
FOL
silly
bookstore.
question from the copy editor, does CW Mars have like a
It
is it
doesn't
just
have a
CW?
slash now. Now it
It's
is
just
just
CW.
CW space Mars.
Mars?
Yeah,
Great.
it used to have that slash. It doesn't any longer. Yeah.
Okay,
The
so it
logo
sounds
looks
like
fantastic.
it does. It really
Thank
pops.
You might just mention to Mealy that that this wouldn't be exclusive necessarily if another business expressed interest, so that they didn't walk in one day and see
Sure,
somebody else's.
sure, yeah. And they were very respectful and approached it very well. They sent me an email, they came and met me. It's a family-owned business in North Street. And I said I would have to, get the approval of the trustees. They were very, very understanding of the whole thing.
So it sounds like people are in agreement with this proposal.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Priya, can you give us an update on the strategic planning process, which is the next step?
Sure. So we had 4 focus groups in January, 3 focus groups with adults and 1 with teens. And then there was the last meeting with the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee. And they reviewed the strategic framework that I have created, the main goals. And now I'm working on the library profile and the community profile, which I will give to Barbara, and then she will put that together. And the next step is the managers and I are going to again meet with Barbara to discuss the vision statement and the mission of the library and maybe the values. And that meeting is going to be on March 17th. It's a Friday in the morning at 8:30. If anyone on the trustee board wants to join us on that, you're welcome to do so. I'm sorry, I forgot to include it in my email, but it's Friday, March 17th, 8:30 to 10 or 10:30. It will be a Zoom meeting.
Could you just send us an email about that?
I will do that, yeah.
That would be great, thanks.
Sure.
Are you happy with progress so far? Has it seems to?
Yeah, it is. It's going very well.
Good.
We have a very engaged community. I'm grateful for that.
Great. Next item under miscellaneous is proposed next steps with the land acknowledgement statement. So I can speak to that, and Priya, please add. So I did, there is a new DEIB committee meeting, or is it quite, how would you call it? Committee?
It is a committee, yeah, DEIB
committee.
committee.
Yeah. It's not a focus group anymore. It's a standing committee that is newly formed. And I did send out the research that our library staff prepared to them and asked them to review it, and really kind of at Kevin Mizagar's really kind of good suggestion that really this should be something that the town as a whole should take up. So Priya and I are going, I believe it's the 13th of March, to meet with them to explain how this came about, how other communities use it, and how we as a library may use such a statement. And really just to kind of start the process for this committee to consider making such a statement on a town-wide basis.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where things stand at this point.
Deb, can you just speak a little bit to what the hopes are for the acknowledgement?
I don't know what, I mean, I think is that question related to what the hopes are for the library or for the town?
I mean, I guess both, because it would be the same acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember when it came up, but I think someone had mentioned that Chelmsford had done a really good job, because I think that and you are probably 10 steps ahead of this, but I think just making the statement in and of itself isn't enough. It's sort of what are we doing to actually improve exposure relations. The Chelmsford Library website is very impressive in terms of their not only their statement, but what they have done. They have several mini libraries around town, like at trailheads or different places where it's all filled with like contemporary Indigenous authors and things like that, and just lots of links to local Indigenous nations and resources in Massachusetts that that help the Center for Native American Awareness, things like that, and other links to town resources and things. So I just thought it was really nicely put together, and it would be a lot to bite off all at once, but just in terms of like where are we hoping that this acknowledgement will lead us, as opposed to just being a pat, something that we
Yeah.
say and we move on.
Yeah, I think Jeff, you had mentioned when this was first introduced that what really was kind of our goal was to make it so that it's not just a stamp or a plaque on the wall, but to serve as a resource and for education for the general public. So I think I'm just speaking for myself, kind of echoing Jeff, what you had mentioned months ago, that, let's make this a meaningful statement. So I think pretty much in line of that, but I don't know really we're really just in the first steps. I don't know what the reception of this will be by this committee or, by the town as a whole.
Yeah, I'm hoping that after this committee has had the time to listen to us and learn about how we did the research. And we've also shared all those resources with them, including the Chelmsford town website. If they wholeheartedly approve of it and they want to add something or work with us on, a statement or something that can be added to the town website, and if they can present it to the select board and it's approved townwide, I think that would be great. That is my hope. And I think that's what the town manager wants too. It is something that the whole town can stand by and accept.
I think that idealistically that would be that would be fantastic. But I also know that making a project expand out of the library and have application to the town also means tons of bureaucracy and a longer time for it to actually happen, because now we're essentially, it's going to go through committees, it's going to go through a different set of approvals and what have you. We know from the conversations around the mascot that this is not an easy buy-in project for several people in our community. While many people would be for this, I also feel that there is going to be an opposition to it. I do think, to April's point, that a statement alone is a statement alone. And I think for me personally, I think the library is spearheading so many initiatives on diversity and inclusion, and that we should not shy away from that. So, if there is a method to this being approved that has to go through the town, okay, fine, I get it. But if there is no essential need for it to be approved by the town, maybe we would have been the ones to spearhead this and to showcase it happening in the town. Regardless of where we go with the statement as our signature line on our emails or whatever the case may be, I think that continued programming and awareness, the library can still do that work regardless of where the future of the statement lies. But I do think that there is an urgency in this, and I'm just worried that things that become large in terms of including, different institutions in the town also means that the process is then going to take longer.
Well,
Is there
certainly
a
that-
possibility? Go ahead, Deb.
No, please.
I was just going to ask if there's a possibility that we could publish what the library has drafted and then amend if or as necessary to incorporate any changes that the town or committees or select board might want.
I think that might be a good way, because the way I'm looking at it, historically in the last 2 years, we've spearheaded so many things that that I think the town would have resisted, like getting Kendi to speak or having a session on XYZ are things that we know that people are not comfortable with. It's
Mm.
out of their comfort zone, but we spearheaded that, and that's something that we really should be proud of, because those are things that make an actual loud statement to members in this community that we are in fact diverse and inclusive. So and like I've been on the DEI committee for the town before it became the standing group that it is now. And I was part of that initial research, as you were, Priya. And I'm just concerned that we might be losing an opportunity to spearhead this in this, should XYZ also be doing this type of thing. Whereas if we just went ahead and took the lead, then we're really showing it how we're modeling it essentially, and we're making it seem possible.
There are communities where just the library has, posted the statement, the acknowledgement on their website, and of course, following through with the programs and services also. And there are some towns like Chelmsford where the whole town seems to have worked together. So I think we'll go to this meeting on March 13th, and then we'll see how the reception is, and we'll decide after that.
Yeah, Noor, I certainly appreciate your comments, but I think that my thoughts are that ideally it would be good to have a town-wide statement regarding this, if we are to have a statement. Just because I think it's an opportunity really to have other town departments really think about this. And yes, there might be controversy and negativity around it, but that won't stop us as a library, I think, from being able to provide programming or other information. I think the trailhead idea is is an example of another great idea of that. But at least going to the meeting starts a process of the communication with other town departments.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm all for including as many people as we want to include. And definitely if the whole town was for this, that would, that's your ideal situation. My concern only is that A, does it slow down the process significantly? And B, what if the meeting doesn't go well? Like, I'm just strategizing. What if the meeting does not go in favor of the statement being a part of the town? Are we also then blocking the opportunity for the library to still go ahead and spearhead this within the library's communication? Like, are we kind of reducing our opportunity? But
I think you make a very good point. And I also can see wanting to include more of the town. But I think Priya and Deb, when you're at the meeting, you'll get a sense of that, because, so often, I mean, I just think back to what it took for us to get the new library, just to get people on board with that, and but I do think we need to think about that. You raised a good point, because we don't want to lose the opportunity in trying to be more inclusive that we then can't do it. But I think you'll have a feeling for that when you go to the meeting.
Right. And
But
so,
is there a chance that we can't do it? I mean, do we need town approval to do this? Because I think that it's very much in keeping with our ethos as a library,
Yeah,
no matter what the town says. And I think it would be really a shame if we were unable to do it. I guess I just don't know the protocols of what needs to be, or why it would need to be approved by the
yeah,
select board.
same. Like, I don't know the protocol, and that's like my only worry. If there was a thing like that, then I'm like, oh, okay. Because everyone couldn't do it, we couldn't do it either. But if that's not a problem, and regardless of where the meeting goes, we're still able to do this, then yeah, totally. I mean, I'm all for creating as much of buy-in as we can, with everyone in town, of course. And yeah, it's totally worth the try.
Mm.
But if we think about all the policies, the library policies that we set as a board, isn't it our prerogative as a board to be able to say, this is our policy on land acknowledgement for the library. This is no different than a meeting room or a hotspot rental.
My only concern is that we don't own the land. The town owns the land. And I don't know that we can speak for it. It's sort of a legal issue to me.
Okay.
In any case, there's nothing to stop us from going ahead with programs that we want to put on. And they're probably at the end of the day worth more than words, a statement anyway.
So I guess we'll go ahead and Priya and I will attend the meeting and get back to you about that. Maybe we can put it on the agenda for our next month's meeting and let you know what the reception was and what the follow through will be.
Good.
Thinking good thoughts.
Okay, so the last item is the approval or to discuss the Worcester Consumer Rights Program displaying their resources in the library on March 1st.
Yeah, and March 1st is tomorrow.
I was just gonna say, it's tomorrow.
Right.
They sent me an email even today. Yeah, so they had reached out asking if they could display their resources, and this is for consumers. It's part of the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. Just making people aware of consumer rights, and if they need help, they can approach these people. They can, they'll give their numbers and address and stuff where people can, you know.
Is it gonna be
ask
a handout?
questions.
Is it a handout or someone's gonna be at the library?
They want to be at the library from 10 to 2 tomorrow, have a table with their resources, informational resources. And they said March is National Consumer Protection Week, or the first week of March is the National Consumer Protection Week, and that's why they want to be there. They want to share the resources that are available for consumers. Anything from defective products, home improvement contracts, telemarketing fraud, car sales and financing, utility bills, identity theft, etc. They can, this is a resource for people.
I'm all for it. Will they leave some brochures for people who don't happen to stop by tomorrow?
I'm sure they will.
No, I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like people are in favor of that. It's another good resource for our community to have access to.
Yeah.
And to actually have a person to speak to, I think is
I
great.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, I think that's it, unless there's anything else that people want to bring up for tonight.
It's nothing else from me.
No.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. Next meeting is April 25th.
March 28th,
March.
actually.
March 28th. I'm wanting spring too badly, I guess, after today.
I
I
know.
was in the house with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so my brain is a little fried. All right, so
I'm
March
sure.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, see you soon. Stay warm,
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you
Thank you
all.
all
Good
very
to
much.
see you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, good night.
Good night.